Welcome to Module 6, Prevention and Controls. In this session, we will move from identifying risks to exploring the specific safeguards ADPC has established to mitigate them.
We will examine the practical tools that form our internal defense system, including the segregation of duties, rigorous approval processes, regular audits, and thorough vendor due diligence. These controls are the foundation of our operational integrity. At ADPC, we maintain a zero-tolerance policy toward fraud, corruption, money laundering, and aid diversion. It is important to recognize that prevention is always more effective and less costly than conducting an investigation after a loss has occurred. These controls are not just administrative hurdles, they are designed to protect ADPC's funds, our organizational reputation, and the safety of our staff and beneficiaries. It is a shared responsibility. Every team member, not just those in finance or management, plays a critical role in upholding these standards.
Welcome everyone. In Module 6, we will focus on prevention and controls, how we stop risks before they turn into problems.
We will look at practical tools like segregation of duties, approvals, audits, and vendor due diligence.
These controls are not about mistrust, they are about protecting people, processes, and the organization.
Prevention is a shared responsibility, and it starts with how we work every day.
Why do prevention and controls matter at ADPC?
Because ADPC has zero tolerance for fraud, corruption, money laundering, and aid diversion.
These risks do not only cause financial loss, they damage trust, credibility, and the impact of our work. Prevention is always more effective than investigating problems after losses have already occurred.
Strong preventive controls help identify risks early and reduce opportunities for misconduct. These controls protect ADPC's funds and assets, safeguard organizational reputation and donor confidence, and protect staff, partners, and beneficiaries.
Controls apply to everyone: the staff, consultants, vendors, and implementing partners. Prevention is a shared responsibility, not only the role of finance or management. Now let's talk about segregation of duties, often called SOD. The basic principle is simple: no single person should control an entire financial or procurement process from start to finish. Key functions must be separated. This includes requesting, approving, processing, recording, and reviewing transactions. When these roles are handled by different people, it reduces both error and the opportunity for misuse. For example, one person may prepare a payment, but another person must approve it. Similarly, procurement evaluation should always be separated from contract approval. Segregation of duties makes fraud harder to commit and harder to conceal. That is why it is a mandatory control under the ADPC internal control system. Now let's look at approval and authorization controls. At ADPC, all financial and procurement actions require proper authorization before they are carried out. Approval authority is clearly defined through the delegation of authority, approved budget limits, and individual roles and responsibilities. This ensures that decisions are made at the right level and with proper accountability. Approvals must always be documented, verifiable, and traceable. Verbal approvals or approvals given after the fact are not acceptable. Before approving any transaction, any actual or potential conflict of interest must be disclosed. Transparent approval protects both the organization and the individual approving the action. Now let's look at approval and authorization controls. At ADPC, all financial and procurement actions require proper authorization before they are carried out. Approval authority is clearly defined through the delegation of authority, approved budget limits, and individual roles and responsibilities. This ensures that decisions are made at the right level and with proper accountability. Approvals must always be documented, verifiable, and traceable. Verbal approvals or approvals given after the fact are not acceptable. Before approving any transaction, any actual or potential conflict of interest must be disclosed. Transparent approval protects both the organization and the individual approving the action. When should you report? You should report whenever something does not feel right in a financial, administrative, or procurement process. This includes situations where you notice unusual behavior, pressure to rush decisions, or requests to bypass established procedures.
If documents, claims, invoices, or transactions appear inconsistent, incomplete, or suspicious, these are important warning signs that should not be ignored. Reporting is also necessary when you witness, experience, or suspect fraud, bribery, or any form of attempted corruption. You are not expected to investigate or confirm wrongdoing on your own. You do not need proof, and you do not need full certainty. What matters is your concern and your good faith. Speaking up early helps protect ADPC, its partners, and its resources. When in doubt, it is always safer to report than to remain silent. Reporting through your supervisor is often the first and simplest reporting channel. It is appropriate when concerns arise during day-to-day work, routine operations, or regular project activities. Supervisors are expected to listen carefully, take all reports seriously, and act promptly and responsibly. When a supervisor becomes aware of suspected fraud, bribery, or corruption, they have a clear duty to escalate the matter without delay to the appropriate function, such as HR or internal audit. Ignoring concerns or tolerating misconduct is not acceptable, and managers who fail to act are held accountable. However, this channel is not suitable if your concern involves your supervisor directly, or if you feel uncomfortable reporting to them. In such cases, alternative reporting mechanisms are available to ensure your concern can still be raised safely and confidentially. Reporting to Human Resources, or HRA, is a formal reporting channel designed for proper handling and investigation of concerns. HR is responsible for receiving reports, reviewing the information provided, and conducting an initial screening to determine the appropriate next steps. Where warranted, HR may constitute or coordinate an investigation team to examine the matter further. Throughout this process, HR ensures due process, confidentiality, and fairness for all parties involved. If allegations are substantiated, HR works closely with management to coordinate disciplinary or administrative actions in line with ADPC policies. Importantly, HR also plays a key role in supporting whistleblowers and protecting them from retaliation. While absolute confidentiality cannot always be guaranteed, information is handled discreetly and shared strictly on a need-to-know basis to the extent possible. The Whistleblower Hotline is designed to provide a safe and secure reporting option when other channels are not appropriate or do not feel safe. It allows concerns to be reported confidentially and, if preferred, anonymously. When a report is submitted, a unique report number and access code are provided, enabling follow-up and communication without revealing the reporter's identity. ADPC strictly prohibits any form of retaliation against whistleblowers, and this protection applies not only to staff, but also to non-staff personnel, vendors, consultants, and partners. Anonymous reporting does not mean that a concern will be ignored or treated less seriously. Every report is assessed carefully and handled in good faith. The purpose of the hotline is to ensure that anyone, regardless of role or position, can speak up safely and help protect ADPC's integrity and resources. Now let's talk about a report. When making a fraud or bribery report, it is helpful to include as much clear and factual information as you can. This may include the type of suspected wrongdoing and a brief description of what raised your concern. If possible, note when and where the issue occurred and how it took place. You may also mention who was involved or who may have relevant knowledge of the situation. If you have any supporting documents, records, or evidence, these can be shared, but they are not required. Reports can still be reviewed and investigated even if all details are not available. You are not expected to have complete information or to draw conclusions. Providing honest observations in good faith is enough. The focus is on understanding the concern and determining appropriate next steps, not on proving misconduct. We conclude this module by focusing on our work with third parties. Vigilance is required when partners are unwilling to provide financial information, request unusual banking arrangements, or pressure us to ignore red flags for the sake of the partnership. Our mandate is clear: notice the signs, do not ignore them, and report your concerns early and in good faith. This concludes Module 6. Thank you very much for your attention and your commitment to ADPC's mission. We hope these insights into prevention and controls help you maintain a transparent and accountable work environment. Please complete the module quiz to verify your understanding, and then you may proceed to the next section.